Good morning, minions, and welcome to this week's episode of No More Mr. Fat Guy TV. Now, during the week on the page, I did put out another one of my tag and brag shouts, inviting people to let me know what they were up to last weekend, maybe what they were going to be up to this weekend. So I'll just run through some of those now. So we've got Amy Smith, who raised her hand and said, I had a PR for my 5 miler this past Saturday. So well done, Amy. Angela McCoy Cooper, 10k this past weekend and a 5k this weekend with my 7-year-old, so have fun with that. May Onosaki has got a pile of flags, aka human lives. Basically, she's going to be doing a zombie run in Portland, Oregon. So that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Apparently, it's going to be lunging grasps at people's waist area. Bill from Running Stroke has got a 46k event coming up. And so he ran 53k's as a training run. Yeah, okay, that sounds insane, mate. We've got Brandy over in Canada, who recently completed her first marathon, and has therefore rightly said, she's raised her hand and said, I'm just awesome. Dennis Ogard has also chimed in with, I'm just awesome. Melody Kiesling, 10k and placed second in age group. So what a Melody, that's a pretty good achievement. We've got Ian Verico, Run Around the World. Now, Run Around the World are doing some amazing things over on the Gold Coast at the moment, where they're basically getting people off their backsides and walking and then jogging and then running. So it's amazing stuff. I can't wait to see that actually roll out across the whole of Australia, because that's going to be fantastic and it's going to be changing some lives for the better. But basically they have this week scored some firsts for people running more than 2 kilometres and also fastest 5k's. So well done over there, well done Ian, well done Tracy, keep it up. Jodie Suter attempting to run 70k's in 7 days, that's basically 10k's a day I presume. Raising money for Relay for Life as a fundraiser for the Cancer Council, so that's an amazing cause, well done Jodie. Vanessa Haynes on Saturday will be doing a zombie run, and Brad Scully, who is a local WA based member of the Rogues, a fellow Rogue, did 12k's at the Blackwood River Marathon Relay. That's 7 minutes faster than last year, so well done there, mate. One of the other things I did on the page this week for the first time, which I thought would be an interesting exercise, and it was very, very much fun, interesting and entertaining, was an Ask No More Mr. Fat Guy post. Now, there are a few interesting questions. I think probably the most interesting one was, or the most bizarre one was probably from some of the Rogues. I think Jason asked, why don't you see baby pigeons? Fortunately, I work in IT, so I'm pretty handy with Google and managed to find a solution for that question. But overall, it was actually it is a very interesting thing to do, and I think we might be doing that on a fairly regular basis. I think that the two questions that really stood out this week were people seeking sort of like information and input, just from my own journey that might help with them. I think the first one was to do with food. I think Alana was basically asking if I follow any particular diet plan. I've mentioned on the blog before. I don't think I've mentioned it on here or on the page so much. But really, no, there is no specific nutrition plan as such. I mean, I certainly don't, and I've always said I don't do pills, potions, shakes, or fad diets, so things like cabbage soup or Atkins and so on and so forth. The reason for that being that while many of those things will work in the short term, or in terms of weight loss, they really teach you nothing. At the end of the day, I mean, many years ago, probably about 20 years ago, I did do, I think it was Slim Fast shakes at one stage, and it will work. I mean, you do lose weight, and at the end of the process, you've lost the weight, but you've gained nothing in terms of knowledge or habits or education value, because you just basically you develop a taste for sweet, sugary, tasting sort of like strawberry, chocolate, banana milkshakes and whatever else other products that they've added to that. But you don't really tune your taste buds into real food, healthy food, you don't really get in the habit of eating balanced, healthy meals, and you certainly don't learn, what a good, healthy, balanced meal looks, smells, and tastes like. So, I mean, there is a reason why these people sell these products, because they can sell them to you over and over again. They'll sell them to you once, and you'll lose. You'll maybe have some success. Then you'll go back to your old habits because nothing's changed. Weight will go back on or whatever, and then you'll get down again, and then you'll be seeking a solution. And so it's a vicious cycle almost. It's almost like a drug dealer type cycle. They'll basically feed you these pills and potions and solutions that aren't really solutions, and then you just keep going back for more and more, and you end up with this kind of dependency on them, or a cycle of dependency. So generally speaking, no, I just eat. I do indulge in treats. I allow myself treats in between. I think my weekends are fairly free format compared to what I do in the week. I mean, what I started doing again I basically do light. There's a company in Australia called Light and Easy, and I believe other countries have similar things. And they basically deliver me 5 days worth of breakfast and lunches every Friday. I receive that, and the reason I do that is because it is proper food. It's actual food. It's food that you can, if you didn't buy it through them, you can still go and buy it from the supermarket. But it's put together, so it's a time saver. It's convenient. But it gives me the variety, particularly for lunch. I mean, at lunches I really started to struggle when I was trying to eat healthily, because I don't really have the time to be preparing lunches. I've got so many other things going on, and I guess I don't have the motivation to make my own lunches and bring them to work. And there's loads of options on the doorstep of where I work, and it's really difficult to find good value, healthy options that aren't just salad. And that can get, that can get a little bit boring after a while. So I switched over to the Light and Easy breakfast and lunches, and that's been working really well. But again, it is actual food, not a quick fix like pill or potion or shake. The other question I think that really stood out was just the one to do with when I decided to make changes. How did I start? No, we've covered that before in one or two of the videos. It's been covered on the blog. But essentially that was really, as I said in my response, was first of all putting it out there, make the decision, put it out there, start getting accountability, and then literally taking that first step and building things up. So that was certainly, I found it interesting, putting that question out there, or putting that option out there for people to ask me questions about my journey. I hope it was interesting and of use to the people that were asking questions. So I'm certainly planning. We'll stick with that. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully that'll be a way of people being able to actually say exactly what information they're looking for, and therefore for me to be able to help probably a little bit more specifically, rather than just trying to second guess what it is you're looking for. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'll keep that one going. Seeing the third thing that I've done on the page this week, I think we've all just done, or a whole bunch of us have just gone through a 30-day abs challenge, which by the end was excruciating. I think I did suggest a month ago that it looked like it was something that might be fun to do. I think I must have skimmed through the first week's worth of sort of push-ups and crunches, and not push-ups, sorry, sit-ups, crunches, leg raises, and plank holds, and thought, yeah, okay, that looks fun. That looks like it's not too bad. And I didn't look at what the final couple of days were like, because it got painful. I think there's a sense of relief around Facebook at the moment. We've all just finished that. So it got me thinking about this month. And I sort of mentioned it in last week's video, that rather than go for a physical challenge this time around, there's the planks and the push-ups and all that kind of stuff. What I want to do for November, I'm recording this today, it's the 1st of November. So for this month, we're going to spend 30 days, and what they reckon is it takes 30 days to establish a habit, or change a habit, or I guess to break a habit. So what I've said this month, I put it on the page yesterday, we're basically going to spend the next 30 days basically pick one thing. It's something you want to, a habit you want to create, a habit you want to change, or a habit that you want to break. Just that one. Right? Don't try and do a whole load at once because it won't work. Focus on one. And what we'll do is basically spend the next 30 days focusing on that and basically reporting in on the No More Mr. Fat Guy Facebook page every day to say how it's going and get a bit of support and accountability. And by the end of the that 30-day period, so by the end of November, hopefully there'll be a whole bunch of people on a whole bunch of the minions who will have made some sort of habit change in their life. Once you get to the end of that period, pick another one, and spend another 30 days working on something else. And by doing that, you can just basically make a whole bunch of changes to your life. And I think as you work through those, and as you see that that 30-day cycle works, it probably gives you more confidence to tackle some of the maybe start off with something simple like drinking water every day. The 1.5 litres of water, 2 litres, whatever it is you want to do. Start off with something simple, but by the time you've done a couple of those, you have so much confidence that you can make those changes to your life, that you're ready to start tackling some bigger ones. I mean, maybe some of you are still looking to give up smoking. Maybe some of you are looking to give up caffeine or to reduce your caffeine intake. Yeah, for me, I mean, I've done. Over the last couple of years, I've changed an awful lot of habits. So for me, for November, I think what I'm going to try and concentrate on is my picking my. I've got this awful habit of picking my nail. And even some of the remedies for nail biting don't work because I actually just sit there nervously. I would just be like this. It's just nervous picking away. So I'm going to focus on that for 30 days and try and keep my hands away from each other, and then hopefully by like 30th November or the 1st of December I have some beautifully manicured sort of some fingers that I can take photos of and post onto Facebook. So we'll see how that goes. So that's the challenge for this month then. So we've got the 30-day No More Mr. Fat Guy habit challenge. So I hope that there's going to be plenty of people joining on that one. Now, as you know, I mean, basically each week what I try and do is find a top. Oh, before I forget, November is also Movember. I mean, you probably won't be able to see it too much at the moment, but just basically today is the first day of mow growing. There's a little bit of stubble just there. So over the next 4 or 5 videos, you should see this developing nicely. I'm going to put the link up for my Movember charity donation link. Basically it's for, Movember is the charity itself, but it's basically for male health. It's basically male health charities are beneficiaries of Movember. It's an awesome thing. This will be Mo number 8. It's great fun. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time I'll be telling you how itchy and annoying it is, but it is a good fun thing to do. It's for a worthwhile cause. The 2 main charities are basically male prostate cancer, and there's Beyond Blue, which is basically basically depression and mental health issues. So they're fantastic causes. So I'm going to put my link up, and I'm going to encourage everybody to please, if you can, just make a small donation. I'm getting a really uncomfortable, sweaty top lip for 30 days, so I'm sure you could chip in $1 or something. So that would be really appreciated. So as I was saying, each week I try and find a topic, and it's interesting. This week's topic really came up over I don't know. There's a couple of points really. There were two separate incidents that the same issue kind of came up. One was basically a speech that was done. It was a half-day seminar. There was a speaker who covered this topic. I know a week or so ago. And it sort of came up again, slapped me in the face a bit when about halfway around Tough Mudder. I was running Tough Mudder last Saturday, and there was a couple of runners, a couple of the other participants there that I passed by and I overheard part of their conversation that just reminded me. Now the actual speech, the topic that was covered by the speaker was to do with being in the moment, being present, being in the now type stuff. And I'll get back in. When you look at some of the online blogs that cover things like being in the now and being in the present, they all get very new agey, very very Buddhist-like, and it almost seems that they're just talking that you go through life and you just worry about the now and enjoy, taking time to smell the roses and not really worrying about anything else. And that always, to me, it may just be the way that I was reading it. It may be that that wasn't what they were saying. It's just that I misinterpreted their words. But that's how it always struck me, and it always seemed to be slightly inadequate, because you can't just walk through life. I mean, I guess in many ways that's what I was doing prior to the last couple of years, just drifting through life and not really planning and not really organising, and just doing that whole it'll all be okay, it'll all work out in the end type approach. I don't think that's necessarily what they are saying. Maybe I have just misinterpreted it, but certainly if that's what's meant by some of this Buddhist type stuff, then I will say that I do disagree. I think you do have to have some planning. You have to visualise where you're trying to get to. It's a case of, like, you do that planning and the organising, the visualisation, and then you concentrate on being in the now to actually get there. But we'll get into that briefly in a minute. But this was the thing that was basically, it presented to me in a way that I understood for the first, and made it click, made the penny drop for the first time by I think the speaker's name was I can't remember her surname. It was Dawn, who basically did this fantastic speech that covered a number of topics. When she touched on the now stuff, that was incredibly powerful. And really, how that really slapped me in the face again on Saturday with the Tough Mudder was that I passed these two guys, and their conversation just blew me away in a way that, in a kind of negative way. It just blew my mind that somebody could have enrolled in an event, and they were just going around with a complete negative mindset, just worrying, talking to each other about how much further was left to go, what obstacles were left, how painful they were going to be, and they weren't even. You could just tell they were just existing purely in the future, in terms of what was coming up. And just after I passed them, I went round a bend, and then in front of me was some beautiful scenery and some bushland and open country space on one side and bushland on the left. And I just thought, these guys are going to come around here and miss this, because they're not enjoying this event at all, because all they're doing is spending the entire. I think it takes about 3.5 hours on average. So 3.5 hours plodding around a fairly rough terrain, just worrying about what's coming up next. And, whereas I was so scared of some of those obstacles that I decided up front that I was just going to run around the entire circuit, not worrying about anything. That I was just going to take everything as it comes and literally just be in the moment. Just like when it came to say electroshock therapy, I wasn't thinking about it until I got there, and even when I got there, I wasn't really thinking about it. I just went, and whatever was going to happen while I was in there, I was just going to experience. And that's really what the speaker Dawn was talking about, and what I think is probably, for the first time ever, made absolute sense to me, and also reflected in many ways my experiences on this journey so far. And it really came down to I mean, I could probably talk for hours and hours and hours about it, and I usually do, but I mean, if ever you read anything about being in the now, I think it breaks down fairly simply. It breaks down that you've got the past, you've got the present, and you've got the future, and the way to deal with, or the way to treat them, probably, and regardless of whether it's life or whether it's a marathon, whether it's whether it's some other event, whatever it is. You've got the past, right? You've got two aspects of the past. You've got stuff from the past that's negative. You've got stuff from the past that's positive. forget the negative. The negative stuff, deal with. If you have to, bring it up to the surface, deal with it, right, and then forget it. Do not let stuff from the past hold you back, right? Absolutely, and that's yeah, that might be past experiences. That might be yeah, you might have had a bad race. You might have had bad training. You might have you might have had some bad experiences when you were a kid at school. You might have, if you're talking about, you might have had failed business dealings. You might have had failed romances. You might have had all these kind of things in your past. Things that you didn't face up to, or things that you were scared of that you didn't. Forget them. Bring them up. Face them. Deal with them, and let them wash away. Okay, so do not let negative things in your past hold you back. Positive stuff from the past, build on it. Let it inspire you. Let it motivate you. Let it fire you up, and let it help you realise that you are capable of achieving things. Because you've got past successes, so you can look back at them and you go, I did that, and if I did that, I can do other stuff. But don't live in the past. Don't rest on your laurels, and don't just bask in the glory of things that you've done in the past, because it's done. I mean, it's you're not going to be able to dine out on it forever. So be inspired by the things that you've succeeded in the past, successes you've had, experiences you've had. Let that fire you up, but don't let that keep you back by just basically being in reminiscent mode. Just sit there going, oh, I remember when that's gone. You can't relive those moments. Those glories are glories that you can build on for the future. In terms of the future, plan, organise, visualise. Look forward. Have a clear idea of where you're going. But and make it very positive. Don't worry about the future. Don't spend all your time like those guys were about what pain and what fears and what obstacles and what hurdles are going to be coming up. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about them right now. You can do a little bit of planning, contingency planning or whatever. But if you spend your entire energy and your entire time thinking about what could go wrong and how you might deal with it, then guess what? Things are going to go wrong. You're going to find everything or every reason not to do what you want. You're going to think, I can't run a marathon because at the 32k mark I'm going to run out of steam and just collapse. You're going to think, I can't carry out such and such a business transaction because it's all going to go horribly wrong. I've got no experience of this, no experience of that, and I'm not going to be able to find this. I'm not going to be able to find that. I mean, in terms of me, with this idea of running across Australia, I am very, very actively shielding myself from anything but my vision of how it's going to end. I can see myself crossing the finish line in Ipswich, with a whole bunch of other Australian runners and having a wonderful time. But I'm actively stopping myself from worrying, because there are so many things that need to be pulled together. That if I spent all my time worrying about it now, I would just cancel the entire idea. I'd just go into hiding and just say, why the hell did I do that? So you can't let concerns and fears of the future basically stop you from moving forward. The only thing you can control is your actions and your plan. You can plan and you can take action and you can dream and visualize right now, and that's it. You cannot control. You can't change the past. You can't. You can influence the future, but you can't predict it, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to go differently to how you might expect it to. You can control how you feel, how you act, and decisions that you make right now, and that's the that tiny little piece is all that you've got control over. And if you focus on that, if you focus on taking the right action, and you focus on keeping a positive mindset and keeping your brain and your mind's eye fixed on that positive future outcome, then that's going to get you there. You're basically going to keep taking whatever it is, whether it's a run, whether it's anything in life really. Just keep taking those little steps right now, and enjoy that, enjoy the journey, as they say, but enjoy those little steps, enjoy the experience of taking things forward, you know, one step at a time, one day at a time. And ultimately, if you've got a clear vision of where it is you're actually headed, then those steps and actions each day will get you there, you know. But if you forget the past, on that note, that's a good place to wrap up this week, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. As I say, on the page this week, we'll make sure we'll definitely put in the Ask No More Mr. Fat Guy. We'll do some more tagging and bragging. We'll have a whole load of fun. But as I say, forget your past, stop worrying about the future, and enjoy the moment. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye.